go. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Say Report. I'm your host, Devon Decker, and joining me, my host companion, Sejohn Sarowick. Sejohn?
I'm sorry, I'm furiously right now typing crash sex in cars. Give me a second. Give me one moment. I know. All right. I knew I wasn't fucking crazy. Okay? Okay, I'll give you two guesses as to who directed the 1996 film Crash. And let me first tell you, it is called a psychological thriller, and it is about people who get off on having sex while being in car crashes.
Okay, so my first thought, I'm going to just be honest, I'm going to go with first instinct here, is Woody Allen. Because it seems like a slant sequel to everything you ever wanted to know about sex, but were too afraid to ask.
No, you need to really answer this question, because I bet that you could get this in one.
I mean, is it
really...
David Fincher?
Oh, so close! It's Cronenberg.
See, now I gotta tell you, if it were really two guesses, it would have been Fincher and then Cronenberg. But the Woody Allen joke was too good not to make.
Coming from behind though, who is the star of this film? I bet you might be able to pull this one out of your ass.
Is it Henry Rollins?
No, it's not Henry Rollins.
Tony Shalhoub?
No, Tony Shalhoub.
He had a real big
crash. No,
Sam
man,
Rockwell?
James Spader.
Yeah, you know what? Honestly, if I had been willing to play the game, if I wasn't going for comedy, that makes sense. James Spader was in a lot of sex movies. Secretary? I've had that on my DVR for too long because I planned on watching it when my parents went away on vacation. But, oh yeah, fucking pandemic.
Devon's alone time. I will say this about Secretary. Anybody out there that's interested in it should see it. If it doesn't interest you, don't push yourself. It's not the kind of movie to push yourself to see. There are some people out there that talk about it like it was like the second coming of art film, and it's not that.
No, but it's definitely James Spader. If you want to know the appeal of James Spader for the modern woman...
Am I wrong?
No, it's Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Maggie Gyllenhaal.
Yeah. See, I mean, I know everything about the movie. James Spader, Maggie Gyllenhaal, sex. That's all you need to know, right? I feel like Single White Female is another one that falls in that category of watch it if you have an interest, but don't actively seek it out.
Which version and why? Because
well, there's only one version, and then there's the sequel starring Mila Kunis. It's not the same movie, Sejohn.
No, isn't Single White Female a remake from like a 70s movie?
No, Single White Female is its own thing, as far as I can tell. I always thought that it was an original feature.
The horror movie that's all about the girl that has the roommate and she takes over her life.
Right, that's 1992. Bridget Fonda.
I've definitely seen an old version of that story. Maybe it wasn't called Single White Female.
I don't think it's called Single White Female. It's just, I don't know. All I know is that there's the Bridget Fonda one and Steve Weber's in it. And I'm like, I like both of those people. So why?
Jason Lee.
What?
And Jennifer Jason Lee.
Oh God, Jennifer Jason Lee, right? See, this is the movie I want to see. But I own it, but it's another one of those movies that I don't know. I don't know why I haven't watched that one. I bought a 2-pack, though, that came with Single White Female, too, specifically because Mila Kunis is in it. Which, this is a good jumping off point for something I don't know if you were aware of, and we can't talk about it this week, but it's his little hint.
Are we going to talk about the really weird sequel to American Psycho that Mila Kunis was also in?
Maybe I fucked up and it's American Psycho 2 that I'm thinking of. Not Single White Female 2. Well, it's probably American Psycho 2. I don't know.
Single White Female 2. It does exist. It has Kristen Miller and Allison Legg in it. I thought you were about to reveal to me that Mila Kunis had a habit of being in weird psychosexual films, because then also Black Swan. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, no, it would make sense. And Bad Moms. I don't know if you've seen Bad Moms, but trust me, psychosexual. That's why the moms are so bad. It's not. I'm lying about Bad Moms. Still holding out hope for Daddy's Home Bad Moms 3 crossover.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Like,
you're going to mention something important about our show. What were you about to talk about?
No, yeah. So, all this talk of female sequels, right? Female-driven sequels and female films. This week, tomorrow, the American Pie octology becomes a novology. I think that's how you would say it. I didn't
If
put the
so,
thought in.
no.
With the release of American Pie Girls Rule.
Interesting concept. I actually feel the need to watch this one immediately. Whereas in the past, I will not lie, I have always been very interested in American Pie sequels, and you're right, this is for a future episode. We will get into that. Well, in past episodes, we've talked about
Yeah,
American
we've
Pie.
talked about American Pie, so there's a reason why it's worth talking about.
But yeah, Girls Rule. I am extremely interested to see where they go with this concept.
So, the only American Pie film that I did not see week one was Book of Love. And honestly, that is because I was on the ocean when it came out and did not know that it had happened.
The lost years. Yeah.
So, like, I came back and I'm like, oh my God, American Pie. I'm watching this right now. I was at a Walmart. I saw it. I bought it. I watched it. Just like for every other one, I was working at video stores, so I took them home and watched them. And now I have the entire collection, and I will be receiving Girls Rule hopefully tomorrow, because I pre-ordered it, on DVD, and because it's only available on DVD. But yeah, I'm very excited for it, but I don't know what it is. Like,
That is a fucked up concept. It is only available on DVD. I was about to be like, really, the only way to watch American Pie movies is a VHS rented from Blockbuster that your parents rented the day before, and now they're at work. That's the only way to watch American Pie movies, as far as I'm concerned.
yes, but back when we were children, yes.
It's really hard for me to watch American Pie movies when they come out now. It's a whole thing.
Well, now that you don't live with your parents, it's probably really weird to be like, "Hey, Mom and Dad, you want to come out and visit and rent a movie?" And then you
rent this VHS tape.
And then, like, be busy tomorrow for like 3 hours. But what throws me off about it is that it seems like it might be a slant reboot in the vein of Ghostbusters Answer the Call.
I'm sorry. It seems like it might be. I think it's pretty obvious that that's exactly what they're doing. Am I wrong?
Well, but I don't. But it's never referred to as that. Everything that I've read does not call it a remake of American Pie. It is just 4 girls in their senior year trying to take what they want. So, like, it feels that way. But the reason why I think it is that the Stifler this time around is Stephanie Stifler. And if that's not just the lady version of Steven Stifler, I mean, I got a hat on.
I will say this. I will be surprised if, first of all, Eugene Levy's not in it. That would be ridiculous to me. Secondly, if it is not in some way, if there is not a reference to the original movies, and like, even if Stephanie Stifler like offhandedly mentions her cousin Steven, then we are looking at a world that is continuous. But is that what you mean? That you think it's the first one that's not in the continuous world of
I
the
feel
American
like,
Pie movies?
yeah, I don't know. It's very strange because in the American Pie film, the first film, we meet Steven's younger brother, who is the protagonist of Band Camp, right? Mm-hmm. And in Band Camp, they offhandedly mention their cousins, who become the protagonists of Naked Mile and Beta House.
Right.
And then you come to American Pie 7, The Book of Love, and it's all new characters except for Jim's dad, Noah Levinson. And that's fine. Like, it makes sense. And it actually builds on the lore of the American Pie universe in this really crazy way. Yeah. And then, for some reason, American Reunion happened. Like, man, people have loved these 4 direct-to-DVD movies. We gotta get the band back together.
Don't knock it.
I love the American Pie films. And everybody who, if you listen to the show, you hopefully know that. And if you listen to the show, you better get on board with that thought. Because American Pie is in the DNA of the show. We're probably going to be talking about Girls Rule next week, this same time when we're recording. So this same time when you're listening, maybe. I don't know what your listening habits are. But I don't know if it's going to be a continuation or this is truly going to be an American Pie Presents film.
Well, I am all tingly with excitement still then. Like, this is great. Like, I was excited before because of the idea that they were going to try and do this swing focus on the female gaze, and we'll see if that's what they do. See, I feel like they're going to do this thing where, and this is funny because this is actually going to lead me into talking about the movie I watched this weekend, but I feel like they're going to do this thing where they're getting you in thinking like girls rule. Oh, there's going to be so many more women in this one. And let's be honest, the audience for the American Pie movies is the majority of that is made up by people that are like this is just a step below Skinemax for me. Like I'm coming in for this because at some point there's going to at least be a bra, right? That
is a boob right there.
I mean, like that has always kind of been the thing that has kind of driven these movies. There's never been an attempt before, like, to make them anything more than that. Like, I think that the people that make these movies would happily acknowledge that that's kind of been in the DNA of these movies, right? So by saying girls rule, and this is going to be all about the girls, they'd be stupid to not think that a portion of our audience, perhaps a large portion of our audience, is going to assume that this is going to be like just a nude lady fest. And I don't want it to be that, but they'd be fools to not capitalize on that concept at first. And then if they can somehow flip the script on that, like, that is where I am super interested in this. And we'll touch back on it later after we've seen it. But I am very interested to see if they can take this concept of, like, this is a film series that has been very geared towards the male gaze, and we're going to take that idea, suck you in with it, and then we're going to, like, try and, like, change you with it. They have potential here, I think, is what I'm saying. There's a lot of potential energy with this movie, and we will see if it turns into actual kinetic energy or not next week.
So the question that I need to ask of you on this is, have you never seen Book of Love?
I've seen Book of Love.
Okay.
And the way that these movies succeed is they always bring you in with that idea, and then they flip the script on you. Like, that is the joy of these films, and I think we discussed that pretty heavily in the American Pie movies. But here, they've got some serious potential to, like, actually generate, like, anybody outside of our circle or universe doesn't understand that. Like, let's be very clear here about the bubble that you and I live in, like, right? Like, right? So they have the potential here, though, to break out of that bubble, is what I'm saying.
Right. Well, I mean, a reason why I say Book of Love is Book of Love really does sort of bring you in with the male thing. And then I would say that one, I've only ever seen it a couple of times, but it really balances the male story and the female story in a way that I was impressed by. In fact, a lot of the female actors in that one, I was familiar with their work before seeing them in Book of Love, where I couldn't tell you anything that the male actors do. Of course, outside of, Eugene Levy. But yeah, man. So I think that I feel like it's the next evolutionary step is to have the females as the thing. But you're not wrong when you say that.
I think that you and I and anybody that's been following this nonsense for the last 20 something years.
20 years. It's 20 years this year. No, it's 21 years.
Yeah, right.
Oh God, American Pie can drink. It's 20 years last year. That's why we did a 20th anniversary episode.
Right. And so, like, there's this idea that's what's always drawn us to those movies. This might be the first time that we really kind of get to share that with other people, and like that excites me as well. We'll see, though, because, like, also it could go up in flames. We don't know. We haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'm very excited about that. But yeah, man.
Okay. So I'm feeling good, and I know that I'm putting a pin in what you want to say, because I would like 5 minutes to just expel some negative energy. I know that we did some good stuff, but, like, I have some negative stuff weighing on me that I'd really like to get out and get your opinion on. And it's not like us alone playing Avengers, like, purge this negativity. It's big and, like, world related.
I mean, what is podcasting if not a place for white boy therapy? Like, let's do this.
Ouch,
go ahead.
Ouch. No, withdrawn as you shot. So no. I feel like we're on the verge of a second wave in this pandemic. And I'm terrified by that prospect.
We are.
Okay. I'm glad that it's not just me feeling this way. I feel like now that our president has been diagnosed with COVID-19, like, all these skeletons that were in the closet are going to be revealed. I'm not crazy, right? I just need to know that I'm not crazy for feeling this way.
This is the weekend. This is the end of the weekend that we learned about President Trump's diagnosis on COVID-19. In that, we should mark this because this is what is referred to in academic circles as a threshold moment. This is a moment that a lot of stuff has been building up to, and everything changes from here on out, right? And you're not wrong. We are on the verge of a second wave. We've always known there was going to be a second wave. Let's lay our cards on the table. Science has been telling us that the fall was going to lead to a second wave that was going to be perhaps bigger and harder to deal with because of things like major holidays and things like that. I mean, most people, when I say major holidays, think Christmas or Thanksgiving, but actually, honestly, even something like Halloween, we've really all got to have a conversation as a country about what the fuck Halloween is going to be this year, and I have no idea. I have no clue. Speaking of which, did you see that dude that created the candy delivery PVC tube shoot that's been going around on TikTok and YouTube and shit? He works for my company, and I got to see him give a talk with the CEO the other day about what a great thing he's done by creating the candy delivery system, because the company gave him a humanitarian nod in one of our company meetings the other day.
No, that's crazy.
Fucking sign of the times, man. But yeah, it's even something like Halloween, we're gonna have to kind of reconfigure what our thoughts are gonna be about what that holiday is, because we're talking about little kids, germ factories. Anybody that's a parent, I don't think would argue with me about that. Going door to door and knocking on doors and getting physically handed something from the people inside. That's a terrible idea. Well, and we all know this.
Okay, right? So Rhode Island, right, the state in which I am in and where you are from, they announced how they want Halloween to work in our state, and first of all, weird conversation to be having on the brink of, the president has been diagnosed with this deadly disease that we are currently living under quarantine because of, right? Uh-huh. Also, the fact that we're going to be extending the mask mandate. Well, of course we are. The guy in charge has the disease. The guy who's been denying it for so long has the disease. We got to take it seriously now, right? Jesus, what? Sorry, I'm going kind of crazy with this thought and this prospect, but they also did it, and they don't want people giving out candy in Rhode Island. What they would like you to do is to make gift bags full of candy and lay them out in sheets in your front lawn. And it will be honor system that kids can come around and pick up one bag of treats and then just keep going.
I love this idea.
I hate this idea.
I hear the trepidation in your voice. I hear the trepidation in your voice, and I don't blame you. I don't think you're wrong for feeling that way. The reason that I love this idea is that this is it. This is the make or break moment for me personally, as whether or not we are actually going to be kind to one another. This is the test, everybody. Putting your candy out and just saying take one, and basically the honor system is going to be the proof for us whether or not we can all survive this.
Yeah. So I love that. I love what you're talking about. I wish that I could get to that part, but where I stall out, where my car just refuses to start, is that, well, kids probably shouldn't be walking around on Halloween. Even if it's to pick up little bags. And I know that 99% of the urban legends about candy apples with razor blades, nobody's giving away drugs on Halloween. That is the dumbest thing in the world. To think that watch out for hippies, they'll give your children's edibles and then they'll get high. It's no, edibles are expensive. I'm not going to waste them on your damn children.
What millionaire hippie is out there thinking, what evil millionaire hippie is out there thinking, I know what I'm going to do this year. I'm going to trick the kiddos.
I'm going to get all of the children in the neighborhood baked. What? No, I'm going to take those drugs myself, says the billionaire evil hippie.
And ignore the outside world because it's a fucking pandemic.
It's just one of those situations where it's you don't know if that house is clean or not. So you're still taking a gift from a home where you're not aware of if the people inside have the disease or not. Like, you're removing one step, and I know that it doesn't live on things or anything like that, but I mean, if anything, this is also revealed, the pandemic has revealed just how evil humanity is capable of being.
Yes.
On all fronts. Like, I don't know. It feels so strange. And like Cam Newton, the New England Patriots quarterback, tested positive for COVID. And yet, right now, as we record, the game is going to begin. They're going to start playing the game that was postponed one day.
Yay! It's okay, everybody.
Like, he's not
we ran
playing.
away from the disease yesterday. We're good today.
Right, and all of these people testing positive, but still football happens. And, like, I think that's why I voiced my issues with that first week of football, where, like, it doesn't feel like we should be doing this. And then it wasn't even a month before that was proven correct.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it still goes on. They're like, and these people who are like, well, you gotta keep living your life. You can't live in fear. It's like, see, but that's the reason why it's still happening.
Yeah. I know, man. There's this sense that the rest of the world is looking at us and being like, well, this is ridiculous. You can't close up, but then also not give people like a living wage every day, because like you're basically damning your people to poverty. And a lot of people in this country are saying, look at that. That's evidence that we shouldn't close up. Not, look at that. We should be paying everybody just kind of a living wage right now. Like, we're learning the wrong lessons. So part of it is definitely malice, but part of it is also idiocy. And it's all scaring me, man. Don't worry, you're not alone.
Okay. I just needed to, because like you said, science has been pointing that there was going to be a second surge, a second wave of this whole pandemic. That's kind of how they work. I'm not a virologist or an epidemiologist unless I'm playing Pandemic, the board game, which I can't bring myself to play that game anymore. And I love that game, right?
Yeah, no, it's rough. We got a hold of the Legacy Edition just like at the beginning of all of this, thinking we'll play like a couple of games during the pandemic and that'll be funny. And then once the pandemic's over, we'll get really into it. And then we realized the pandemic wasn't going to be over for like 2 years, and we were like, maybe we put this game away for right now.
Can I here's the big confession that I have, and I feel awful saying this. We got through October in a game of Pandemic Legacy and just stopped playing. And as someone who's seen Jumanji, I can't help but feel like possibly responsible. Like, I know that's crazy. That's egocentric. Yeah, I don't know. But it's just weird. Like, it's one of those things where, like, everyone in the house, like, kind of gives each other the sideways glance. Like, I mean, this is real similar to the stuff that happened in that game that we didn't finish because it became unfun. Just be careful also if you're playing Pandemic Legacy. Just like know that it has the potential to become unfun. And also make sure that you're following the rules, because one of the reasons it became unfun is like 2 games before the game that was our last game, we misread a card. So we should have won because we were not doing what we were supposed to do. But like, then we played another game, and you can't like go back and be like, oh, we played it right this time. It's like, no, that's not the point. If you're not paying attention, you have to live with the consequences of that.
Yeah, I will say like trying to veer away from the sad conversation.
Oh
like,
yeah, no, that's it. I just had to get that out. I'm sorry.
No. The Legacy game that we've been playing, just to update everybody, is House on the Hill, right? And that has been awesome. And the joy in that game is that games can go super sideways for you, but that's okay in House on the Hill. Like, in a lot of ways, that's kind of the point. There shouldn't be happy endings, or at least not too many happy endings in that game, right? Because the whole point is it's supposed to be like spooky and scary, and like the next family that comes in is supposed to be seeing the ghosts of the last one and stuff like that. So like where the Legacy game makes total sense in that sense, and because you can fuck it up, and something like, oh, not following a rule properly, it's okay. Oh, you didn't follow a rule and everybody died. Oh well, in the next game, follow that rule and it'll just be more fun. Whereas in Pandemic, Yeah, the idea that like there isn't that there you don't want there to be an upsetting ending to that game for sure.
Yeah.
I can definitely see that.
It
Uh yeah. Sorry, I'm sitting here looking at a timeline on Herman Cain's passing away with the coronavirus, and it's a little creepy compared to some of the stuff that's happened over the last 3 days. Just everybody remember that for a few days before Herman Cain died, he kept talking about how great he felt too. Just putting that out there. um, but yeah, man, it's weird times that we live in. It's weird. It's unprecedented weird times, and people not knowing how to react to it. On the one hand, sucks, and and it can definitely get you down. But one of the important things to remember is that we have been through unprecedented times before as a human race, as a country, as a people, as a family. We go through unprecedented times a lot, and we survive. And that's not to say like don't educate yourselves. Like, no, obviously stay informed, stay updated, stay safe. Everybody get your flu shots this year. I'm sitting here feeling strong and powerful because I got my flu shot this weekend. But there's no reason to have two things to worry about this winter, right?
Right. That's true. Thank you. I just needed to get it out. I just felt weird feeling this way, and I knew that this would be a thing, and it's good. It does. It lets me know that I'm not alone in those feelings. And I have American Pie to distract me and all sorts of other things. But thank you for this now 7 minutes of validation of my feelings. And I guess as a reminder to listeners and to everybody, validate your feelings, right? Like,
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Of course. Yeah, man. Especially now in the midst of all of this as we are like trying to figure out who we are as a people, because the pandemic is definitely something that has taken over this show and we have talked about many a time. But like, let's not forget that we're also a month away from a major election that could change things too. Like, there's tons of moments in our coming up that are going to completely change this country. So like, there's other things that you can think about, and in all of that, taking a moment to kind of just realign yourself is completely justified.
cool, cool, cool.
Let's talk about scary stuff that's fun now.
All right, scary stuff that's fun sounds great.
Because it's now Halloween time,
It's
Devin.
spooky season. Hold up.
It's
I don't. What the fuck is spooky season? I was watching John Oliver last week tonight, and they did a montage of all these like local TV shows saying it's officially spooky season. I've never heard it called that before, and I hate it.
it's that same thing where like Christmas comes earlier and earlier every year. That means everything else has to come before it, right? So there's been like spooky decorations out for sale and up in people's yards since like August around here. But yeah, it's the season of spooks, Devin, and so like that means it's time for things like Hollow watching.
Yay, hollow watching.
So I started off my Hollow watching pretty stellarly this weekend. I for the first time watched the new Addams Family, the new animated Addams Family.
That's a film I wanted to see in theaters last year and just didn't.
Yeah, you
I
weren't
don't
the
know
only
what
one. There were a
happened.
lot. No, a lot of people kind of just didn't, which is kind of. It seems like that's kind of the feeling on that film. Is a lot of people that were just kind of interested in it just kind of lost interest in it. And part of that is because I'm very intrigued lately by the amount of things that have decided to just come out. The Zemeckis announcement of The Witches coming out on HBO Max at the end of this month. Had no idea that was coming, and they were just like, "Yeah, we were going to put it in theaters, but obviously with the pandemic we can't, so we're just going to put it on HBO Max in 3 weeks. Thanks, bye." And it's like, great, thanks. like that attitude has been refreshing. The idea that like we can no longer ride that wave of like coming out in August in theaters because we don't fucking know, maybe it'll get pushed back 6 times, so we can't do that, right? Nintendo has been great with that this year, where they're just like, and it also comes out next month. All right, awesome. Like that has been a really great kind of side effect of all of this insanity this year. And so I think that was the problem with Addams Family, is I think that there was a lot of, it was in that time where you announced a movie 6 months early, 8 months early, and you released little bits and pieces, artwork, video, things like that, cast list and that sort of stuff. And I just think there isn't enough going on in the package of that film to like hook you in January and keep you invested till October. So like what was really cool about it for me was that like it was one that I was kind of interested in, forgot about, and then Hulu did their Huluween thing that they do every year, and it was like front and center on the family page for it. So I was like, oh man, like literally on Saturday, I was like, we should watch this movie. I didn't know it was up, and on Sunday we watched it. Like there was that only 24 hours, there wasn't a chance for us to like kind of lose interest in it, and that's good because like that's the kind of thing that movie kind of needs. It needs you to just kind of just dive in because it, much like we were talking about earlier with the idea of like it's going to pull you in with this idea of one dumb concept and then kind of like turn it on its head 20 minutes in and keep you interested for the rest of the movie. The first 20 minutes of the Addams Family animated movie is like not confusing, but like you're sitting there wondering what's the point. Like every moment of it you're like, and okay, and because it's a lot of like dumb jokes and like everything is creepy, right? So like Wednesday Addams is like, oh, I feel, what's the opposite of sad? And it's like that's the joke of the scene, and it's like, okay, haha, she doesn't know what happy means, funny. But then like 20 minutes into the movie, they finally get to like the plot of what the actual thing is going to be, and they introduce the villain of the piece. They introduce all of this whole other side of the world, and that is what makes the movie kind of magical. From that point on, it's kind of hard to look away. There's this entire concept of the world outside of the Adamses and their interaction with it, and that's what really makes this one kind of stand out. In a lot of the same way that like the Addams Family was always really good at bringing the outside world into it. The Addams Family, the old TV show, I should specify here, was always really good at bringing the outside world into it. And in some ways, that's kind of where the movies are really shine too, right? Is it's all about like the weird and the creepy and normal people kind of finding their way into that world. And in the second one, Addams Family Values, you see it kind of start to turn a little bit with the kids going to camp, right? Where they start to go into the real world. But even that's not the real world because it's just a camp setting, right? And this one, oddly, I think it feels like was clearly written to kind of be in that continuity, and like it is all about them as a family going into that outside world. And the reason that I think it's supposed to be in that continuity is the huge part of the plot line for this. Like one of the driving plot lines for this animated movie is that Pugsley is going through his mazurka, which is the dance that we see Gomez and Fester do together in Addams Family Values in order to remind Fester that he is an Addams.
That's
the
the,
like
it's
sword
the first
dance.
one.
I believe it's the second one because he comes back and he's forgotten that he's an Addams, and so they redo his mazurka.
Nope,
And
it's
all
the
about
first movie is where that dance happens.
with Fester and him not
with
remembering,
Fester
and then
not
he remembers
remembering,
halfway through.
because Addams Family Values is specifically Fester in the relationship with, I think, Joan Cusack, trying to change him and the family trying to become normal.
And it's him with the mom in the first one, right?
Yeah.
So but that's what it is. It's that dance though from the first one that the two of them do. It's that ceremony is what Pugsley is now going through, and it's all about him like learning how to do that dance and how to go and what it means to be an Addams and all of this sort of stuff. That's one of the plot lines in the movie. And so like there's this weird feeling that like it pays a lot of tribute to the movies. It also has a lot of the feelings of the old TV show. The style itself feels kind of reminiscent to the old comic stuff that used to be done. Like it is a weirdly heartfelt like love of the Addams that kind of drives that movie in a way that I wasn't expecting. And the comedy, once I realized where they were going and what they were trying to establish, makes so much more sense. But like it takes a moment for you to kind of get there. And I feel like that is where everybody got kind of caught up on this movie, is they weren't sure they wanted to invest in it as an audience, and I can't say I blame them. It's not like I feel like this movie kind of like earns it in like its previews or its marketing or anything like that. But like it is definitely for a Sunday afternoon Halloween watch fest with your family, definitely worth it.
Cool. I mean, the second I saw the character models, I'm like, well, this is inspired mostly by the comics, and that was when I was on board, because the comics I was all about, and like So the dance thing that you're speaking about, that also had a big place in the comics, and that's why people kind of lost their minds in the movie because it actually got brought to life with Gomez and Fester actually doing it. Like
By Raul Julia
yeah.
and
Christopher Lloyd.
Like,
yeah.
I mean, like, what a crazy,
Yeah.
phenomenal cast on that movie. The cast on the animated movie also is
It's
insane.
nuts. Like, it's something that I really did want to see. And
Yeah.
I'm really mad that I was so distracted today because I had wanted to watch it and just the day got away from me. Like, I'm so glad that we did this because it grounded me in a way that I definitely needed. I slept really poorly last night. I woke up feeling adrift. Sejohn, thank you for being my anchor.
Thank you for being a friend.
Nope, when I sing a goal, girls, we will get in trouble. Plus, I don't want to get into a fight about which golden girl each of us is.
Okay, fine. Whatever. Gloria. Okay.
There's no Gloria. I'm Dorothy. You're Rose. You're actually probably Blanche.
I like for being the sexually active one, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's why you'd be Blanche. No offense.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I think of you and I just think, man, he probably having sex right now. He probably having sex while we're recording. He's like Johnny Bravo. If Johnny Bravo actually like could seal the deal. That was a weird show, Johnny Bravo. Like, he was a good-looking dude. He was just super shallow.
It was a weird kids show about a band just trying to get laid constantly.
Oh, mama. Yeah, no, that's a Johnny Bravo reference. That just happened. So that's good. So I will definitely check out Addams Family. It's something that I put on my list last year, and I saw on Hulu, and I'm like, I should watch that. But we have a schedule in the Decker house on how we've been handling the watching. And
Nice.
Sunday, it was Dale's turn to pick, which meant we will all finally got to sit down and watch the DCOM original movie, Twitches.
Nice.
Which apparently had 22.5 million viewers in its opening weekend on Disney Channel. It aired 4 times and raked in 22.5 million views.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, you Tia and
Tamara Mowry, baby.
I mean, they were superstars at the time. Like Sister was still going strong in the middle of all that, right?
I think Sister may have just ended because it came out in 2005. Sister,
much older. No, you might be right. You might totally be right.
'Cause
I in my head, they are super young in that movie, but they may not be.
Well, that's the thing. The thing about Twitch is that I hate myself. 2 reasons why I hate myself with Twitch is, 1, Jocelyn Shit from Schitt's Creek plays one of their protectors. I know her real name, and I had her real name ready to go, but I've lost it. Jennifer Robertson, maybe, is the actress's name. And, like, so that was distracting as in quarantine I sat down and watched all of Schitt's Creek finally, which we've never talked about on the show. I don't know where you are with it, if you've watched any of it.
I watched the first couple of seasons when it was an Amazon original originally, right?
No,
it's like
it was originally a Pop TV original.
Pop TV, right? Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
And I was interested. I watched 1 episode when it was on Pop TV, and I'm like, not for me. And of course, not for me because I started at like season 2, episode 4, and that show was very additive. It's not a show that you can just drop in on. So, like, lends itself to being binged very nicely. But I'm disappointed in the ending. But I don't want to discuss it with you if you have any desire to talk about it. Also, I'm deflecting from Twitches because I'd really rather not talk about Twitches. But no, we got to talk about Twitches. I watch Twitches, and we're sharing our Hollow watching.
We can talk about Twitches too if you'd rather talk about Twitches too.
No, I've never seen Twitches too. Hurtful. Nice try though. But yeah, but what really threw me off is that they're 21 years old in that movie.
Oh, they are much older than I thought. For some reason, I thought that movie came much earlier in their career.
Like, it's 2005. The movie is 15 years old this year, because they're celebrating their 21st birthday at the beginning of the movie, and that felt so strange to me, because a DCOM if its one goal is to have you connect with the protagonist. And if you're watching it as a 13-year-old, 21 seems like a whole different world than like 18. Am I wrong in thinking that? Like,
no. 21. It is actually. It's extremely odd, and I wonder. I mean, like a movie like that, a Disney Channel original like that, can only be headlined by somebody like the Maori sisters, right? Like, there's no way that they would bother with anybody else making them 21. Anybody else would get knocked down to like 16, right? Like, this is your or 15. This is your quinceañera, right? Like there's a sense that even if the actors are 21, they would play them much younger because like that's kind of in a lot of ways the point, right?
all right, and like I said, I thought 18 would be the threshold, especially because if spoilers for Twitches, if you've never seen Twitches. The whole thing is that they finally come of age to be able to fight against the darkness that claimed their father's life and led them to be hidden away in our world rather than the world of Coventry.
Yep, excellent, phenomenal.
So like it's their 21st birthday, but it doesn't feel like they're 21 at all. It's very much like she's still living at home. So they're the twins of the sun and moon, Apollo and Artemis, and Apollo is still living at home. She's an art major, but like 21, you're a senior. Like you should be going out in the world. It doesn't feel like she's ready for that. But then on the other side is Artemis, whose mother just passed away like 3 months earlier. And she's living with her friend Lucinda. Her family has taken her in. And I'm like, yeah, but she's 21. Like, at that point, you try to find a place on your own, right? Like, it just, nothing fit together in a way that I thought a DCOM original movie should fit together.
I mean, I have to wonder if, like, I mean, Disney Channel original movies are the kind of movies that like go through script like hell, right? Like they get written and rewritten for years, right? Like that's just what Disney does. And I have to wonder like what they started out as and what they became once they sign on somebody like the Maori twins, right? Like they really quick they're like, oh shit, we need to like age this up here, change that there, like let's fit this in. It's crazy to me that they're 21 in that, especially because as somebody that like, I know I made the joke about Twitches too, but as somebody that knows like that grew up on both of those movies, I guess I didn't grow up on them, but as somebody that like constantly watched both of those movies in like college years, like I Twitches 2 takes place at least 2 years later, if not 3. Yeah. So that means that they're like mid-20s in those movies. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, it was very hard for me to reconcile watching this film where I'm like, who is this for? Like, this was released in 2005 for children. And I think about the DCOMs that I was getting, like, Under Wraps. That's a bunch of plucky high schoolers who find a mummy. The only one that I can think that has, like, an adult character is You Lucky Dog, where Kirk Cameron, maybe early 20s, is, like, the dog psychiatrist. And he's able to like mind meld with dogs.
Oh, right. Oh man.
But that was a lot of because of the growing pains thing. Like they really tried to ride that growing pains.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say Under Wraps, where they have the mummy. Like, yeah,
right. The mummy is Bill Fagerbach, but the mummy's just the mummy. The kids are the ones who like are the protagonists of that, and they also happen to hang out with a mummy. And it's not like a young hip mummy. It's like an old man mummy.
It
threw me for a loop. Like, it's good. It's a good story. But it took me so long to get past the fact that, like, why are they 21? And I feel bad about that.
It's one of those things, like, as a kid, I wouldn't even think about it. I would just think about I would just think about them being older, and I'm curious if they had come out when I thought they did, when I was actually like growing up like a 12-year-old. I wonder how I would have felt about those movies, because in my head, like watching them when it must have been when they were only premiering in 2005, 2006, whenever the second one came out, right? Like I felt like then I was watching a movie that was already 5, 10 years old, right? Like
Yeah.
if you had told me today that they came out in 95 and 97, like I'd be like, yeah, of course they did, right?
Yeah, it's like, yeah, because it's the Disney Channel original movie aesthetic, which like it always feels a little budget basement, bargain basement is the word I was trying to say. I kept saying budget for some reason. And yeah, it just was very strange to me. And to think about the fact that like you watched in 2005, you were closer to their age,
Yeah.
Sejohn,
I know.
than you would have thought. And I don't know. And you still looked at it like these are children. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was hard for me to reconcile as a 34-year-old male that they're 21 in that, especially with just some of the like humor and things that they do, and the fact that it's their 21st birthday party, like that's a central part of the film is celebrating their also one is rich and one is poor. Like that's the other thing. They try to do a lot with this movie. Prince and the Pauper, like all sorts of things. Parent
Right.
Trap. It really felt Parent Trap inspired. But yeah, so you get to that point where it's like, I don't know what's supposed to be happening here. I don't know how I'm supposed to feel. But then we get to the 21st birthday party. Nobody is drinking.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And it's like,
your 21st
you're
birthday. Like, what's the first thing you
21.
do is
You
buy her
should
a
be
drink?
drinking.
Yeah.
Like,
I have
make
to
her
say that-
18 and it's fine. Like,
Yeah, I have to say that it sounds like really what it is, and again, this is the Disney Disney Channel original movie effect is like they realized they had twins on their hand, so they went and they pushed every twin concept they could into that, right? Like, what are all the things like I'm surprised at some point do they switch places, like you know what I mean? Like,
no, I was really surprised that doesn't happen.
Yeah, exactly. Like yeah, they clearly go through every possible iteration of like, what can we do when we have actual twins? We fucking CGI'd Lindsay Lohan into two places at once, and now we have the ability to actually do this. What can we do?
Like, and the weirdest thing about it, two really weird things about it. One, there are times I know that they're two people. I know that Tia and Tamara Mowry are two different people, but there were times where it felt like this is just one person being doubled. Like the angles were the same type of angles that you use in like the Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan or with Haley Mills in the original Parent Trap. I'm like, this just doesn't look real. This looks
Or
like
in Dove
Disney
Cameron
magic.
and Liv and Maddie. Like we can talk about it in an even more recent version of that attempt. In that man, it struggles. I love that show, but man, it struggles in moments.
I don't know. I've never watched Liv and Maddie. iCarly did it though. I'll use iCarly because Sam has a twin sister.
Let's talk about. Yeah, there you go.
Like that's very weird. But yeah, like so those are just things going through my head. And the other thing is the way that they meet is literally the same way. The way that they meet and find each other is ripped right from the first episode of Sister Sister.
That's phenomenal. That's excellent.
So like good, and I will probably end up watching Twitches too, but like it was really hard for me to reconcile the fact that they were 21 years old, and it did not feel that way at all. And it didn't feel like it added anything to the story either.
Yeah, I have to say, I noticed how many of your issues come with the fact that like you were going in expecting a Disney Channel original movie and got this instead. Like I wonder where like how you would feel now going into Twitches 2, knowing what you're kind of getting into, right?
I hope so. I mean, like, I'm excited about Twitches 2. I spoiled something of it, and I'm like, oh, I'm disappointed that I know that's going to happen.
Yeah, I will say that this is kind of all of the same ways that I feel about Halloween Town High. Like you say Halloween Town, and a lot of people out there like raise their voice, and then you say Halloween Town High, and a lot of people are like, "Wait, what?" And it's the fourth movie, I believe, in that series.
It's the third one.
Is it only 3? I thought there was
yeah,
a
because it's Halloween Town, Halloween Town 2, Caliban's Revenge, Halloween Town High, and then Return to Halloween Town.
Oh, Return to Halloween Town is not 3.
No, it's the fourth one because
but I know that
Halloween Town High is such a departure from the first two films that they tried to make good again.
They tried to dial it back. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, right? Is you watch Halloween Town High and she is so much older and like the concepts are just like so bizarre and you're spending the whole time being like, I liked this better when she was like 15, like when the kids were all like kids. There's a level of stupidity and like poor movie making that I'm willing to put up with when clearly it's just a bunch of kids having a good time. Like that's where Disney Channel original movies like really excel. Like Brink is amazing, not least of which because you can always tell when they cut to like a
Someone
terrible
else.
it's a terrible cut to a stunt double, right?
Yeah.
Like and things like that. Yeah. Like yeah, it's really weird. I mean, part of it is I have to wonder if it's just that the Maoris are just too talented for that shit. Like,
I think what also is hard for me is, are you familiar with 17 again? Numeral 17 again? Not numeral 17 again. Word 17 again? Because numeral 17 again is the Zac Efron Matthew Perry movie. That's wonderful. But then there's also 17 again written out, and it stars Tia, Taj, and Tamara. Their brother,
and that's
smart
the one
guy.
where there's like it's science, right? Like he drinks like a potion and becomes
They turn the hot tub into a fountain of youth. Taj Mowry is like a wunderkind. He's just playing smart guy basically, but related to his family. And he turns the hot tub at his grandparents' house into like a fountain of youth. So his grandparents de-age. And then, the grandmother becomes Tamara, while Tia was already like the 17-year-old. Like, oh, everybody said we always looked similar when you look just like your grandmother when she was younger.
In my head, I imagine that like the grandmother is just her in old age makeup, right? Am I wrong about that?
No, I believe it's actually different actors who play the roles. I don't know. I haven't seen it in a very long time. But the craziest thing about 17 again is that is not a Disney Channel original movie. That is a Showtime original movie.
Right.
And it's awesome. But also, like, it came out at or around the same time as Twitch is, like maybe 1 year earlier. And they're playing 17-year-olds in that one based on the title. And, like, it works so much better with them at the age of 17, like dealing with this stuff.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't know. It was very strange. It was very strange watching Twitches. And then, thank God, I made good. I did another Hollow watching last night. May I continue to have the floor, Sejohn? So football, Sunday night football is happening. And last night's game, I couldn't even tell you who played in it. I'll just be honest with you. I will say, checking in with the Washington football team, they're now 1-3. They got their asses handed to them by the Baltimore Ravens yesterday, 31-17.
Oh man.
But never fingers crossed. But yeah, so my mother I don't want to watch this. Let's watch a movie downstairs, and she wanted to watch The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, the Disney one. But I, being Devon Decker, was like, no, we're not just going to watch that. We have to watch the feature film, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Oh, man.
And let's be honest, it's a 74-minute movie. Like, it's not long.
And that with both of them, yes.
Yeah,
yes.
But you kind of need to. Like, really weirdly complements each other. Like, they did a good job with that one. There are those weird package films that Disney did because the world was at war. Like the Fun and Fancy Free, Melody Time, Make Mine Music, and The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. They're package films that are shorts bundled together, and they're pretty awesome. I actually think Make Mine Music came out before Fun and Fancy Free. I messed that up, and I apologize. But and it's been a long time since our mother had seen either of them, but watching them together, it's a very nice little package. And, Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, nobody remembers that movie. I'm going to just be honest with you. Even if you're out there and you're telling me I remember this movie, you probably remember the ride at Disney World.
I was going to say, what you remember is the ride, because which doesn't exist anymore, which is a shame.
It became the Winnie the Pooh ride, and it's it's if you're familiar with the Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the ride, and then you go on Winnie the Pooh, it's very fun to be like, oh, this was the part when you were in hell in Mr. Toad's Wild Ride. But look,
It's not much
everyone's
better
so
in Winnie
happy.
the Pooh, because isn't that the part they turned into the Heffalump and
Yep.
Woozle's like dream? Yeah.
Yes. But like it's like this used to be hell. But it's weird because Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, the wild ride that we see in it is Merrily Merrily on Our Way to Nowhere at All, which is such a great musical number. He never drives in that film at all. You just see him with the car that he trades Toad Hall for, but you never see him drive that car. And that was a little disappointing to me. Also, it's kind of a weird Christmas and New Year's movie. I don't know.
It's a very good fall film. Like
Yeah.
that's what the package feels like, a very, very good film to watch in the
In the fall, yeah. But then you get to The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Ichabod Crane. That's such a good freaking Disney short. Like, it's so enjoyable.
It is terrifying.
And not only is it terrifying, it's also pretty much the basis for all of Beauty and the Beast. Like, if you want to see where they got all the ideas, Brom Bones is just Gaston in every way, shape, and form. He even wears the Gaston outfit at one point. But also, Ichabod Crane's a bad dude. Like, you're not rooting for him. He's a gold digger who only wants to marry Katrina for her wealth.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that a lot of people kind of misread about that story, is that like the point of that story is it's almost a morality story. Like he's an odd duck, and in a weird way, like that. Like him just being different doesn't mean that he deserves what happens to him at the end of that story, but it is because he is like he lives outside of society. Like he's the lonely school teacher. Like he is kind of a weirdo and kind of like shitty to everybody in town. So like when this happens to him, it is almost this sense of like it's shitty that this happened. Don't let it happen to you. Don't be an Ichabod. It's like
Yeah, it's a cautionary tale. He's so much worse than what you just described, though. Like, his income is meager, so he, like, basically max on all the ladies in town to get free meals. Like, it's nuts. It's like, oh, you are not a hero, Ichabod Crane. I mean, maybe you didn't deserve to be exploded by a headless horseman's pumpkin bomb, but, you're not one to be looked up to.
Yeah, no, man. The between the headless horseman in that and the demon in Fantasia, like the mountain.
Oh shit, Chernobog.
Yeah,
That's his name. Where did that come from in my head?
But that's like that is some good old school Disney scariness, man. Some good stuff.
Parents still complain that the headless horseman terrifies their children, and it's like, who's that on, Mom and Dad? Should you watch this with your child?
Oh man,
it's good, and the song, it's just fun. So check that out if you got Disney Plus and you're looking for good, like, watch both parts. Don't watch them separate. They really do complement each other in a really beautiful way. Yeah.
So I want to talk about something else scary, Devon.
Okay, what's scary? What else scary? I'm shivering, but I think I can handle it.
I want to talk about battle royale games and how scary they've gotten to the point where friggin' Nintendo's making them now.
To be fair, Nintendo was making them before with Tetris 99.
Yeah, and I will say that in a weird way, Tetris 99 made total sense to me, right? Like there's already a sense in the oeuvre of Tetris of like who can do this better, right? Like people out there talk about being so good at Tetris. People literally use it as like a verb when they're like, I Tetrised that in there really well, like when they move, right? Like that is something that's already in the water, right?
Time out. Devon, take a time out here. I hate when people say that, but only because if you Tetris that in there, everything you just put in your car disappeared.
It's gone now, you fool.
That's my favorite. Like, Futurama is the only thing in pop culture that I think nailed the true secret of Tetris. And that is, no, you don't want to be good at that in the real world because the things disappear when you line them up well.
Right. Yeah, and so there's this sense in that that it's already a competition. So by putting it all on screen, like that, it was a logical step for that, right? And in a weird way, the the new version of this, Super Mario 35. I I know that there was even a straight up movie that you and I both love that kind of tries to turn Super Mario into a competition. The Wiz,
The
could
Wizard,
not be.
not the Wiz. The
I
Wiz
corrected
is
it.
too
The
early.
Wizard could not convince me that it was a good competition. Like, it's great that that's the game, that is the game in that movie, that Super Mario Brothers 3 specifically is the game of that movie.
It was the
Only
first time we
because
saw it, Sejohn.
right,
We didn't know.
but that's just it, right? Is it's the idea that like it is so clearly an ad, because if there was an esports scene in that at that time, it wouldn't be around Super Mario Brothers 3. It'd be around games like Tetris, right? Like that is what people would be coming together to do this shit with. So by taking Super Mario Brothers, the original, and making Super Mario Brothers 35 and turning that into their newest project, they've gone in a very weird direction.
I'd like to address the Wizard for a second, and then Real World, and then get to exactly what you just said. First of all, the competition in the Wizard makes zero sense at all. It like just put that out of your mind if in comparing it to things, because first of all, you play Ninja Gaiden for 10 minutes, and whoever has the highest score in 10 minutes in Ninja Gaiden, they win the competition and they qualify. The top 3 scores of Ninja Gaiden qualify for the finals. So first of all, Video Armageddon, you are a flawed system. Just straight out the bat. Especially when you consider that people now can beat Ninja Gaiden in 11 minutes.
Yes.
Like
they didn't know what men would do, man.
It's just one of those things. Like, Jimmy's score that gets him to qualify is like 42,000. Maybe 427,000. Like, that's his thing. It's like around that time. To, like,
go back for a thing or something that he remembers that nobody else does, or something.
No, that's how he wins Super Mario Brothers 3. For somehow he finds the whistle in the World 1 Fortress, and by using that to warp to the 4th world, that gives him a point boost. Which, like, no, that's not how video games work. 1989. It just, everything about it makes no sense. But Ninja Gaiden being the thing, and 10 minutes of Ninja Gaiden, and him having, like, a 400,000 score, and that being the highest thing there, like, as someone who has competed in both Ninja Gaiden and Super Mario Brothers as an adult, they're not good competition games. Like, it doesn't make sense. But the Wizard used them because it wanted to sell those games. Thing 2. And I had a thing 2, and I've now forgotten. Oh, thing 2 is I finally fucking get Battle Royale games. and that is what I have to, like, give them credit for. Because Tetris 99, as much fun as Tetris 99 was, there is a battle element to it that I never could wrap my head around.
Right. The way that you send punishments essentially to other people, right?
Right. You can target people specifically, or you can target people who are targeting you. You can target random people. You can target, like, you can target one of 4 things. I don't even know what they are because it doesn't make any sense to me. But really, at the end of the day, you just need to Tetris better than the other people.
So the 4 things that you can target, just to clarify, are random, anybody targeting you, a specific person, or top people. It'll go after certain, like, it'll go for tops, and so it's based on those 4 things, and it's the same thing, I believe, that you can target in Super Mario 35.
No, Super Mario 35, I know those 4 specific things. It is random, people who are attacking you, the people with the most coins, and the people with the lowest time left.
Okay, so yeah, so they change up.
They've changed it up in that one. I think like an amount of pieces on the board is something that you can target in Tetris 99, because targeting people specifically is controlled by the other thumbstick.
Oh, and yeah, because you can go around the board, right?
You can go around the board and target people directly. I think most pieces or something like that. I don't know. Again, because Tetris 99, I loved when it first came out. I will love to go into it, but I've never been able to be victorious in a Tetris 99. I think the highest I've ever gotten is 3rd place. I don't think I've ever even gotten 2nd place.
Seven for me.
Yeah.
I've never gotten higher than 7, and it sucks. It makes me so angry.
It gets you angry. But, that's the thing. So then Super Mario 35 comes along, and you're not wrong. It's crazy that they took Super Mario Brothers from the NES and were like, let's make this a battle royale. But leading up to it, because they made the announcement at the beginning of September that it would be coming in October, I trained in Super Mario Brothers. And I was instantly taken back, like Fry with his All Rush mixtape and bottle of Shasta, to my 9th grade. When I would come home from school, I would turn on the local high school radio station, and I would listen to songs like Tangerine Speedo.
And, phenomenal. Yeah,
and just
grateful.
Beat Super Mario Brothers until my father got home from work. Like, that was what I did after school. I'd come home, I'd play Super Mario Brothers until my dad got home from work, and then I would not play video games anymore. And so I played through. I made sure that I could beat the game start to finish, because I thought that might be a necessary skill for this game. Mm-hmm. And it's really not.
No, it's really, really not. There's a weird Meat Boy-esque attitude to a lot of the ways in which you got to play this game, especially if you're getting targeted. And it specifically comes from the ways in which, this is just for the benefit of everybody that's never played it, isn't ever going to play it. So you go through 1-1, say, right? Super Mario Brothers 1-1, and all of the normal stuff is always there. Like, everything is exactly where you expect it to be: power-ups, question mark boxes, even the baddies, right? But then what's happening is that you're being targeted by other people, and what they're sending to you is different baddies, and it can be anything. Because at first I thought it was just like, oh, like in this first round it's just going to be Goombas, and in this next round it's just going to be Koopas. No, I was like in the middle of 1-1, and a friggin' Squidly came out of nowhere and got me, and I was pissed because like I wasn't expecting it. So I was like in the air, and then this thing like floated down from the sky and got me. And so like, you're getting more and more and more baddies on the screen, and it becomes this thing of knowing exactly how Mario is going to behave when you jump in a certain way, where you're going to land, how you're going to then pull off. Because especially when you get into later levels, like specifically the any castle level, and you have these really, really, really tight hallways, and suddenly people are sending you just all of these just piranha plants, you're screwed, because you can't jump over them, you can't get around them unless you know the exact physics of what Mario is going to do, like how he's going to behave when he goes in this direction or jumps in this way. Because like, other than that, I couldn't figure out my way around a bunch of stuff. There was just so much stuff on screen. I was like, this is impossible, I'm screwed.
Yeah, so it's very strange. First of all, I mean, the reason why I understand is because I've scored first place at least 18 times in the 4 days that it's been around.
Congratulations, man.
Yeah,
that is
I mean, but there are people who have like upwards of 50s. I saw someone streaming it, and his streak of wins in a row is 11, which, like, that's insane to me. Yeah. I like the game as a distraction. I'm going to play it after this because there are daily challenges, and I finally get why you would do a daily challenge.
It feels like, well, the prize, right? It's all about the loot, man. Like, but what it feels like to me is, if you're not first out of the gate and you don't know exactly what you're gonna do, like, you're done. Because like, anybody that's gonna hesitate at any point, that is when you're gonna realize that on the next screen there's gonna be tons of stuff there that you weren't expecting. If you're not speeding through and getting through there as fast as you can, that is when you're going to get stuck on a screen that's just impossible to pass. And that's my biggest issue with it, is it becomes impossible at some point. And in a lot of ways, Tetris 99 did this too, and it's why I'm not a huge fan of it. Other battle royale games like Apex Legends and stuff like that have really kind of done a good job of balancing things in a way that I feel there have been moments when we have played Apex where I feel like in the first 5 minutes, or in the first 5 seconds, I should say, we felt screwed, right? Like, we landed with a bunch of other people, everybody else grabbed the weapons, we ran for the hills, we didn't know if we were going to make it, we lost one of our teammates, and then I've gotten to a point where I've come back and I've seen the mistakes that I have made, and I feel like that's the one thing that's missing from this. That Nintendo does that thing that they always do, where they latch onto a thing that everybody loves, but they kind of miss the key elements to it. One of the key elements is like at some point I need to feel kind of like I can succeed in this. And I think they try to get there with the pay for question mark box in the middle of the thing, but the chances of you getting what you need are so low, right? Like you pay for a question mark box because you can pay 20 coins, and you might get a star, which would be great on those screens when you can't get through everybody, but you also might just get a mushroom, which doesn't help fuck all. So there's this idea that other games hide really well that turning point when you're just not going to win, and you continue to play because you feel like, oh, if I just did this, I'd win, or if I had just paid attention here, or if I had just made this move there, I could have won that, so I'm going to go back in and do it right this time. I don't feel like that with this game. I feel like there are other people that are just better at this game than me, and I'm not going to get better than them, so I have no interest in continuing to play it.
Right. So I think the first thing that we should also mention is Nintendo has already given this one an expiration date. This game is going to stop on March 31st, 2021. Now, that might not happen. This might be the most popular thing ever, and they decide to increase it. And the only reason I say that is because Jump Forever was supposed to just be a little limited release game, and they decided to keep it up on the Nintendo Switch. Have you done Jump Forever?
No.
You jump rope with your Joy-Cons.
Nice.
It's pretty cool. But so they're already saying that they're going to delist it, and a lot of the people who are playing it are wondering why. And I think what you just described is the reason why, because eventually the skill ceiling will become just so high that nobody will be able to enjoy it except for the very best.
And in a weird way, like, I kind of applaud them for that idea, but in another way, I think that might actually be bad business for them, because from what I've seen on YouTube, it's become a huge thing, and much in the same way that Mario Maker was kind of a big deal, in that, like, getting to that impossible point makes for, while it's a bitch to play, makes for really entertaining watching your favorite YouTuber either excel or fail miserably at that game. Either way is gonna be good YouTube. Much, as I said, much like with Mario Maker, one of the big things that they kind of didn't count on with Mario Maker is not just people wanting to play that stuff, but watch people play that stuff. And it became a huge thing with Mario Maker 2 that they really wanted to put things out there that were good for TV, essentially, right? YouTube and Twitch and stuff. And like, they have potential here. They have potential for a really big kind of Twitch presence that Nintendo doesn't always get. You know, besides Mario Maker, I don't know many other Switch games that really get a huge run on Twitch, at least that are like so Nintendo forward, you know. Indie games probably, but even then.
Yeah, I mean, like, one of the biggest ones was Link to the Past Randomizer. That blew up on Twitch, but they don't see anything from that. In fact, right. It's very strange in this world where we see DMCA takedowns and all of that, that Link to the Past Randomizer continues.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I am always afraid that I will wake up and it will be gone, because it just seems like something that's inevitable with just how much press it gets and all of that. But, like, you know, fingers crossed, knock on wood, I don't think it's going to happen. But this one, where this game is, the problem with Super Mario 35, and it's an interesting one, and I think it actually has been a boon to the game itself, is nobody fucking knows what's going on. Yeah. Nobody knows the rules. You didn't get a manual with it. What people know is you play Super Mario Brothers until you're the last one standing. And as we've played, as a community of people have played the game, we've learned more and more about what it is. I
right.
don't think you got the chance to play the special world, right? I think it went dead today.
There was one at 1:00 that started, and I tried it and couldn't figure it out.
Okay. So the special is the first special for when this game released. It was the first 4 courses, so 1-1 through 2-4, played right. in order, and you just kept playing that one in order. And that was very interesting because it meant that there was a chance for Bowser to be on the battlefield of the people that you were fighting. There was a water level, so there were bloopers, and there were fish that could show up.
Right.
It was a nice variety of things, and it felt like Super Mario Brothers because it was those first four courses in order.
Mhm.
The other one, the Super Mario 35, before you start it, you pick a course, and it seems to be up in the air about what those courses do. Even people who've unlocked all of them still only have conjecture as to how it works.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of mystery around it. Yeah. Also, the benefit to the coin system is curious to me. Like in a weird way, I've seen two camps develop. There are the people out there that believe that your best bet is to go in and spend coins on the randomizer as you go, right? And I've seen other people that are like, no, like save your coins so that you can just like and fucking blast in with a star in the get go on the next one and things like that. And so like there's a lot of weird stuff going on there. I feel like it's almost a spoiler to say this, but the thing that got me is I spent like at least a good 15 seconds trying to figure out why Mario wouldn't move when I first started, and then I realized it's because you can't use the thumbstick.
You can if you go to the options. You can set it to be thumbstick. Yeah, but I
right,
get you.
But it's not.
It's not told. It's not explicit.
Exactly. So like in the idea that this didn't come with a manual, it almost feels like playing Mario again for the first time because you have to kind of learn the mechanics of it. Like you're like, oh, like basic mechanics like how to move just kind of threw me for a loop in this game. But it's coming hard and fast, which is new for Mario.
Yeah. The physics are also like just off enough that you need to relearn the physics of Super Mario Brothers. Like acceleration and height are different.
That'd be a great challenge, though.
Yeah.
Like moon physics on one or something would be a hell of a
Right.
weird
Well,
challenge.
that's the thing. Like, I feel like there's such potential for this game, and it's why I'm upset that it's going to be delisted at beginning April of next year. But I don't think that Nintendo wants to put the time in unless it is generating them crazy revenue, and I think only time will tell on that. But specifically, that course selection, you only start with 1-1. You don't have any other things unlocked in the beginning of the game. And you pick 1-1, and if you beat 1-1, that unlocks 1-2. And the way that it works is if you beat the level before it, you get the next level. And you pick those levels, and it sort of goes into an order of the levels that everybody's going to be playing.
Mm-hmm.
I think, with like earlier levels getting more weight as it's earlier in the match and later levels coming up later. But the problem is those later levels are where the fun is. And I don't mean like the fun of just like the game, but the stuff that has made me go like, this game is crazy. This is what I expected this game to be. Yeah. 4-1 is where that really comes to pass, because 4-1 is the first level where you get a Lakitu, which is the cloud guy throwing the spinies.
Right.
So a Lakitu introduces two new enemies that you can send to your opponents, Lakitus and Spinies.
Mm-hmm.
And I have seen, no word of a lie here, 30 Lakitu wind up on a guy's screen. And just like, what are you supposed to do in that moment?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But like that only happens when you're down to like 2 or 3 people left in the competition. For sure. And it becomes something different. Ditto like bullet bills. Once you're killing like bullet bills and those are zooming, it's like it makes any level harder. Look at the original Super Mario Brothers game. Once you get to World 5, it's when they start reusing courses, but made a little bit different, made a little harder. Like 5-3 is just 1-3 with all of the girders half size and bullet bills flying at you. 5-4 is 2-4, but with a giant fire bar at the beginning and extra fire bars throughout the stage. So that's what I want. I'm waiting for the time where everybody playing is picking those later levels, and I don't know when or if that's ever going to happen.
I don't know, man. Again, it'd be really great for like the specials and stuff, and I think that if this was any company besides Nintendo, what you would see is the idea of paying for coins and paying to unlock levels and icons and all that sort of crap, right? Like the ability to put money into this thing would definitely be front and present. And the fact that that's not the case and that is, I put that squarely on the fact that Nintendo doesn't want to play that way, and I applaud that. But I think that that also puts a hard line on how long they can kind of put up with this game without like generating profit. Like we can't expect them to keep paying attention to it, right? Yeah, I don't know, man. I am very happy that it is in the world, and I think it's a crazy ass thing. And as somebody that watches a lot of like YouTube gaming and Twitch gaming and stuff, like I'm excited for that aspect of it. But man, playing it is just not my bag.
And I think it's really cool that it's not your bag, but it's my bag. Because you like to play all these multiplayer games and all these battle royale games that I don't understand. So that they were able to tap into a part of my mind where like finally all these stupid skills you have, right? I'm never going to go. Okay, so this is what this is related to. It's related to two things. I used to work with a comedian named Tommy Drake, and he did a bit about the fact that his wife was so much older than him. So she tells him about what it was like to live through Vietnam, and he shows her where the warp zones are in Super Mario Brothers. That's never going to happen. But then, like, that's a one joke, but also the Italian marketing campaign for the NES had this guy, I can't tell you his name, but he was like an American Joe type in this Italian commercial, and he invited a girl over to his house to show her how to play Super Mario Brothers. And like those things are never going to happen. We talked about the Wizard earlier. We're never really going to live in a world where if you're super good at Nintendo games, it gives you $50,000 in a competition.
Right.
It's just one of those situations where it's cool that I'm finally getting a game and I can do it right from my house, right? Because like I did those frag events and those were fun, even if they had like slight flaws in them. But Super Mario 35, I just sit down, I turn on my Switch, I play a couple of rounds, and I'm satisfied in this way that the Wizard always wanted me to be satisfied.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey man, I get it. Like you said, I love the idea of the battle royale genre. Like and especially because so many of them do the free to play route, right? Like the idea that they're gonna give you the game so that you can get into it, and then if you want to do more, if you want to be more in the community, then you pay to unlock costumes and skins for your guns and like new maps and all this other nonsense, right? Like that kind of stuff it's the way that it brings people into gaming that don't normally get into gaming, people into or validates like a sense in for a lot of people is I applaud that. And I think that I think a lot of people give kind of battle royales a bad knock because they kind of came out at the same time that like loot boxes became a real issue. And so a lot of them kind of depended on the loot box system in order to survive, but at the same time we're feeding a really problematic side of the industry. But I think that we're getting away from that now. I think you're seeing a lot of these things realizing that if they really want to survive the lawsuits, they're not going to participate in that part of the industry anymore, right? And so which is good because it means that we're going to finally get to see games get ahead on merit, not just on who can sell the most loot boxes. I am very curious to see what Nintendo does in terms of keeping it around, because I think it has potential to be a thing that really takes off online and in communities that are not traditionally Nintendo space, in which case it'd be very silly of them to get rid of it.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to see, but I did want to talk about it while it was new. And also, I've remembered the second point that I forgot, and that's the Nintendo World Championships of 1990, which were semi-inspired by the Wizard. Do you know the three games that were the competition in the Nintendo World Championship?
DuckTales? No. What was... I don't know. No.
It was Super Mario Brothers... It was Rad Racer, and then it was Tetris. So it was Super Mario Brothers getting like 100 coins was the goal. How fast you could get 100 coins and whatever your score was in that time. It was finishing a lap of Rad Racer, and then it was just Tetris with the remainder of your time to see how high your score could get. So these games have been competitioned before. I mean, Rad Racer is now Mario Kart, right? It's no longer the Square made game that, or it might have been, I think it was Square though. I think it's like crazy that Square made Rad Racer. I'd have to check. Also, it has a weird 3D mode where you put on red blue glasses and vomit, but it's fun that it exists. But it does make sense that those two games that were like the first games Nintendo said we could definitely make a challenge of are the two that became the battle royales for Nintendo. Just in terms of history. Also, my favorite story about that is Shigeru Miyamoto being like, so basically what you want to do is play Super Mario Brothers until you can get the infinite life trick. You'll get so many points in Super Mario Brothers. And it's just like, that's fun, Shigeru Miyamoto. Thank you for that information.
Nice.
It just, he like told people how to scum the game. And I think that's fun. But yeah, Super Mario 35, I'm playing it. I'm playing it more than the other games I have on my Switch that I need to finish, like Hyrule Warriors, which I'm mad at right now.
Oh,
Why you think I'm mad at it, Sejohn? Take a guess.
Are you having a hard time finding Tingle? Because he's on the first map of the adventures.
No, I'm not having a hard time. I didn't even know Tingle was part of it. No, it's Linkle.
Oh.
They let me play as Linkle, and I love her. And now I gotta do some bullshit where I'm in Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword and Ocarina of Time, but I just want to play as Linkle again.
Yeah, and that one player mode, you don't get to fuck around with the other characters as much as you want.
Oh, but playing as her is awesome. Like, it felt the most Koei Tecmo game because she's kind of a brand new character that they got to do. I mean, ditto like Kara or Karen, the blue-haired mage,
Sid or whatever. Yeah.
I haven't done further than that. I'm doing Link stuff in Skyward Sword right now, and I'm enjoying it. The game has become more smooth, so I have noticed that the reason why Fire Emblem Warriors was so smooth by the end was because of the leveling up that I had done. So I had to get back to that. But I want to play as Linkle again. Give me more Linkle in the legend mode, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy that they take this kind of joke of a character and then kind of really legitimize her in a way that is wasn't necessary in the world, but I'm happy it happened.
She's basically John Wick. She's doing gun kata, but with crossbows.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But yeah, so I'm enjoying that, and once I finish, I'll have more to say, and we can discuss that further. But I am glad that you tried Super Mario 35, and honestly, I'm not surprised at your thing, and that's what I was most fearful of with the game, is that it might isolate those people who hadn't been playing Super Mario Brothers since like birth.
Yeah, I'm curious to see what happens with the community, because I don't think that you're wrong in that. I think it is gonna kind of turn off a lot of people, especially and more as time goes on, because as people just get good at it, like it's gonna really kind of alienate a lot of people that just can't get past that threshold. It's gonna push some people past that threshold that didn't think they could too, which is awesome. Like some people are gonna discover a love in themselves and an ability in themselves to play those games that didn't think they had it. But I don't think I'm one of them. That's all.
Dude, I'm super frightened of the day that I become one of those people who doesn't enjoy it anymore, which is why I'm trying to wring out as much joy from it right now. But I just know that there might be a time where the skill ceiling becomes too high, even for me, as someone who knows that game. And in the past 3 years at gaming events, I was the only person at those events to complete challenges of beating Super Mario Brothers. That really said something to me. Finish Super Mario Brothers in under 10 minutes doesn't seem like a crazy challenge to me, but then to be the only person who did it, I see that. I saw that when at 2 different events I completed it, and they're like, "You're the only one who did it," and I'm like, "Oh, really? I didn't know that was gonna happen." But yeah, I don't know. That feels like a weird humble brag, but that's not what it is. It was just this moment where Super Mario Brother is a high bar to clear for people.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it, man.
Yeah, and we'll check back in hopefully once more happens. But I think that's good for me. I don't know if you have anything else that you want to bring up or discuss.
Only that 17 again was produced by Boys to Men member Sean Stockman. No,
That's
other than that.
fantastic. I'm glad that you looked that up. Thank you for that.
Well,
and thank you,
part of the
Sean
reason I had to look
Stockman.
it up, and not that I was gonna like try and like throw you down and prove you wrong. I remember watching 17 again on Disney, and I, for the life of me, like I know you said it wasn't a Disney Channel original, so I had to figure out why I remembered that, and it's because Disney basically bought into it. Once it premiered in the early 2000s, Disney Channel snatched it up and showed it frequently on the Disney Channel. It's like a trivia thing about it is that the Disney Channel realized what they had like what the popularity of it and like snagged it and showed it every weekend.
When did it premiere? Since you're apparently on the page, because I'm just very curious.
It came out in not 2009, 2000, and then was released on DVD in 2002.
Okay, so that makes sense though, the 2000 of it all, because if they're 21 in 2005, then they're about 17 in 2000.
Oh man, do you remember when fucking DVD special features were good? Because it was also completely in the entire film was included as a bonus feature on the Sister Sister Complete collection box.
That's awesome. I remember those days. Now we don't even have them because you just stream them. And
Exactly.
maybe you'll get something, but they're not good if you do get something. It's like a 10-minute documentary that's not even really a documentary.
And it's usually about like some side character that's not even somebody you cared about in the movie.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right,
man.
now I'm sad, so we're ending the show because I was happy, and now you made me sad by reminding me about DVD extras. I hope there are some good DVD extras on American Pie Girls Rule. We will find out, and we will report next week. But if you have anything that you would like to yell at Sejohn about, you can find him on Twitter at Siege versus the World, and you know, just yell at him. He needs it. He's getting knocked off his high horse for his hollow watching.
And anybody out there that knows what Taj Mowry is up to, just hit me up and let me know that he's okay at Siege versus the World.
I said, you say mine.
Oh, sorry. Nope. I'm sorry. I was really worried about Taj Mowry. Well, you can let Devon know about Taj Mowry, but Devon, you got to let me know, and you can get him at Devon D. Decker.
You know what I really like about Taj Mowry? That your ringtone is the boop, 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 boop from Kim Possible whenever Wade is calling. And that's
Exactly.
Taj Mowry.
I know.
And it's annoying. Here's some inside baseball from me and Sejohn's friendship. It's annoying when you're out with Sejohn and his phone rings because all you want to say is, so what's the sitch? And you don't do it just the one time if you watch Kim Possible. You do it every time. And let me tell you, Sejohn, he's a pretty popular guy. So yeah, that's about it. Will, save us from ourselves. Have a lovely day, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you for listening to the Say Report with your host Devon Decker and Sejohn Serwick. Please follow the guys on Twitter and Facebook by searching for The Say Report, and you can always subscribe on your podcast channel so this is delivered straight to you and you can enjoy it every week. With apologies to your mother, we'll see you next time.